else under the sun. I am Kendall, and I'm here with my co-hosts, James, Carl, and Tony, aka.
Zone is for cowards.
Okay, yeah, no, we're critical of defense here on Eclipse Theory. I get it, absolutely. We hold people accountable 100%, but we can't harp too long on disappointing football teams or amazing Thursday night games, which I would love to do, because we have the what I hope to be the grand finale of our console rankings. Man, we've been going through this for some weeks. If you haven't caught up, just definitely check out our timeline, look at all the previous episodes, like especially the last two console rankings, because we're summing everything up, getting our tier list together, and kind of blitzing through the last few consoles that we haven't ranked, like going from like NES through PS3, Xbox 360 era. So today I want to finish the last few ones that we have left to do and see where all of our tier lists rank. If we have time, we're gonna make this work. I believe in us as a team and as a people, a community of Black men. So without further ado, we're gonna jump into the next one on the list. Let me see. Y'all both need to do. Actually, no. James, you've done Xbox, but Carl, you haven't done Xbox. So,
I did Xbox.
You did Xbox.
Yeah, now I've done Xbox 360. I did Xbox. Yeah, I have my numbers.
Okay, what's your numbers?
Console got a 5 because it was big and ugly.
Mhm.
Controller got a 7 because it was big and ugly. Games got an 8. Graphics got a 9. And Impact got an 8.
And it was a 37. You're right. I had your scores under James's name because these episodes are chaos, and I'm just throwing shit up here and mixing shit up. So, James, I don't think you've done Xbox, is what it is. So, what is your goddamn Xbox? Oh no, I have you got a 39.5. Okay, so nobody listen. This is the best possible news because that means we have one less goddamn console that we got to still do. So, all right, let me take a quick look over the list to make sure I know who we haven't done. So, I don't think either one of y'all was on the GameCube episode though. So, all right, so smart ass motherfuckers, y'all don't know everything, do you? You didn't do GameCube. Do GameCube, right? I don't even care. But before y'all get into it, let me just get a rundown of like how we do them. Like Carl was saying, we go from everything gets ranked out of 10, and then we add them all up, and the total score for the console is a score out of 50. So basically, we go console, controller. Yeah, games, graphics, and then impact. And we rank all those out of 10, and then we score all that up. So we're going to go ahead and do GameCube now. Whoever wants to start, you can start with your list.
Yeah, system, I'm going to go 8.5.
Okay.
With the system. GameCube system, it was a square, but the one thing about the GameCube system, that thing was indestructible. I literally threw my joint against the wall one time. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. But I did it.
Because of how it has a handle. You can handle it.
And I plugged it up, and it worked perfectly fine. There was nothing wrong with that system. Yeah, so I'm going to give it 8.5.
Okay.
Oh, were we like going back and forth, or just
Nah. We'll just run through the whole list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Controller, I'm going to give the controller 8.5 as well. I love the GameCube controller.
Sure.
Yeah, I truly enjoyed it. The only issue that I had with that is that the joystick, the one on the thumb, broke a lot. That jump scraped my fingers up bad, something serious.
Yeah.
But 8.5, I like how the controller worked. The buttons were great. Games, I'm gonna go 9. I'm gonna just be subjective, but 9. I mean, nothing beat Melee.
Okay.
You don't know how long I spent on that game. I mean, I could go on a whole episode just talking about that one game in particular.
If it wasn't for Melee, I wouldn't be friends with any of you. Literally.
So I spent hours, handicap matches, just everything. Like, it had so many other games, Mario Sunshine. There's a lot of great games, but like Melee was like for me. That's the first time I went to tournaments and was playing like that's when I started gaming, like was like serious time. So it holds a special place. So I'm going to give it a 9. Graphics were a 9. GameCube graphics were something different at that time frame. It really was pulling out. I think that's the first time when Nintendo had like better graphics than a lot of systems out at that time frame. So I'm gonna give it a 9. Impact is also a 9. Um, I mean, you had games like Mario Galaxy. You know what I mean? It spawned a lot of stuff. Like Mario Sunshine changed like how I think Nintendo thought they could use Mario, and I thought that spawned into games like Galaxy and stuff like that later on. So like I said, without the GameCube, I think Nintendo would have been in some trouble. I mean, then you go to different things like Wii and Wii U and Switch, and you can go on. But I'm gonna get out of 9 too.
Okay, nice. So that's a pretty. I realized midway through you doing that like we was joking around about like, oh yeah, Carl gives his thoughts. It takes a while to do them. You can't do that. But really, it's me interrupting every 5 seconds that pushes them apart. I can't help it. It's just in me, man. But now we got your full rankings here. So just to recap what you gave GameCube, 8.5 for the console itself, 8.5 for the controller as well, 9 for pretty much everything else, 9 for games, 9 for graphics, 9 for impact, and I can feel that. They gave you a total of 44, and I'll tell everybody at the end where that falls in your rank, so we can kind of save time. So Carl, what do you give the GameCube?
GameCube, I give the console itself a 7. It was like Lyle said earlier, a cube. It was small, didn't have anything special about it. It was indestructible, and it had nice little handles, so it was easy to transport. So it gets a 7. It's not egregious, but 7. Controller 9. Controller is very comfortable. Surprisingly, the C stick was cool. The Z button was small, but like useful and easy to find, and it just felt more comfortable in your hand. It lasts for 3 generations because we and Wii U used the game control as well.
Yep, I still got mine.
Games also a 9. Had some bangers from Metroid Prime to Mario Galaxies to Melee. So the games kept coming. The games were gaming. Luigi's Mansion, Wario Land, like the games were good for GameCube. Graphics also a 9. It was actually the last time they cared about graphics, because the next installment they said fuck that shit.
That's kind of facts.
out of the PS2 and the other systems, 360 and GameCube had some of the best graphics for first generation for the console wars, like if you want to call it console wars still. And Impact, it gets an 8 because GameCube did things for the industry that were good for businesses and Nintendo itself, and bad for piracy. They made their small little disc, so it's hard to pirate. They also introduced the wireless controller, the wireless game controller. One of the first people who really did that. Nintendo's always been about wireless stuff. So the wireless game was actually really, really good.
Yeah, way better.
And yeah, they had like extra attachments like they always do for their Game Boy handhelds, which kind of like cool stuff. So they did a lot for the industry. I give it an 8 for Impact. Total score 42.
Yep, absolutely. So I ain't got to do the recap. So nice work. But yeah, I think that's a pretty fair. I think we all kind of fall somewhat similarly on the GameCube, like the strengths and maybe some of the weaknesses, but dope console. I will say I think the Xbox was slightly more powerful. Like the graphics might have been slightly better on the Xbox, but the GameCube had the art styles. You know what I mean? So
yeah, like freaking Okami was like,
God, man. That game was beautiful on PS2, beautiful on GameCube, and beautiful on Wii, and it's still beautiful to this day. Like real so. But speaking of the Wii, James, you actually haven't done that one yet. So I know it's hard to do this briefly, but give us your thoughts on the Wii.
System, I'm gonna give it a 7. It was a system. It was there. It was cool. Control, I'm gonna get at a 10. I really enjoy the Wii's controller. Just the motion, everything. Just like I thought that was some of the best stuff. At first I didn't like it, I'm not gonna lie to you. Did not want to use that, but after a while, like for certain games, like it was amazing. Games, I'm gonna give it an 8. I feel like it had some bangers, but it set back some games too. Again, Melee was amazing. Brawl was Brawl. Yeah, Brawl was good.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It wasn't Melee. And that was the issue. But it did induce, my favorite character. So I'm letting it go.
Look. There could be a whole conversation around
Yeah.
what just was said.
Oh man, out of
Yeah.
here.
But yeah, I feel it. I get
Well,
it.
I have so much words, but go on.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let it go. Graphics for the Wii, like Carl said, I'm gonna have to get that a 7. I felt like graphics went back. Like GameCube graphics were like good, and then Wii was just like, yeah, we don't really give a fuck. Play this Wii Sports. That's what you're here for. Play this Wii Sports.
Fair.
And then I felt Impact. I'm gonna get that a 10 because I felt like everybody tried to make a Wii remote. PlayStation, then Xbox came with the Kinect. Like, I mean, now it's a lot of different stuff, but I think like everybody wanted to have that. And then they started making like family couch games and things like that. And I felt like that's where the Wii really shined, was like, hey, play this with your family. Like you had Family Feud, you had all that stuff like that. Like they was really like, this is like the one of those couch systems that you can have 4 or 5 people come over and like really have like a Mario Party. So I felt like everybody took that and they wanted to do the same thing.
Okay. Yeah, no, there was some very interesting thoughts in there that we could have had a lot of conversations about. I agree with the 10 on Impact for sure. And most of what else was said, like again, we kind of all falling in the same range-ish. I actually think you're kind of high on the Wii compared to some of our scores. But one thing I want to throw out there is that it's interesting to think back on the Wii remote because conversation was not like this back in the day. I just want to say that. Like,
It was not.
we were not talking this way about the Wii remote. Shout out to us for growing as a people.
I was always having the remote. What are you talking about?
Yeah, of course you were, Carl. I believe that 1,000%, man. That, yep.
See, man.
Before we continue, Tony, do you happen to have your PS2 rank? Because I know you went over them on one episode, but do you have them in front of you?
Nah, but I think I sent them to you at one point. I'll probably pull that up real quick.
Yep, I was trying to find it myself. All right, so yeah, grab that real quick because I feel like this is a very James and Carl centric episode. I just want to get
well, yeah, because most of that's catch up with them. I think the only one that I missed ranking was the PS2.
Yep, only one.
I don't have the individual rankings now that I'm looking at it. I just got the total one, which was a 44.
Okay, yeah, that is what I had up here for you.
Which will put that at 4th place. I'm pretty sure I if I had to guess, I ranked the console probably like a 5 because it's a black box. But yeah. No, I mean it's still it is like the console. Like it's at this point, it's just the quintessential console. It had its flaws. As much as I hated the DualShock 3, I did like the DualShock 2. But if you go back, you can kind of feel that it was heading in that 3 direction. But I mean, games classics, I know that was a 10.
Yeah,
like that's an unquestioned 10. Impact's an unquestioned 10. Graphics probably had a 9, but overall, just a fire ass console. Like, I mean, that's the one that no matter what your split point was as far as the console wars, everybody had a PS2.
Yeah,
like that's not even up for debate. Whatever you split after that, prior to that, you had a PS2.
100%. Absolutely. And like I was telling them, or like we were talking about last time, I wasn't telling them because we all lived through this, but it was the DVD player. Just like how like PS4 became like the Blu-ray player or whatever. Like that was your DVD player. So shout out to Sony for that one. All right, man, we're making pretty good progress. I'm proud of us as a people and as a society, like I said before. Carl, you have one more that only you need to do, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but you haven't done PS3.
I have not done PS3. I don't think I did Xbox 360 yet either.
Yeah, nah, y'all both need to do 360.
Okay.
It's gonna be a good combo, but yeah.
PS3, let's do this. The PS3 console. Let's give the OG a 5. No, it gets a 5 because that shit was just too damn big. You know how I feel about big and ass heavy consoles when you need duffel bags to carry them. So the OG PS3 gets a 5. I was gonna give it a 6. It gets a 5 just for its size, and also I wasn't the biggest fan of not having buttons to eject and turn it on because as soon as those little sensors got smudged or messed up, this was stuck in there. You had to get the screwdriver to unscrew the top and get it out.
And did that happen to you?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That sucks.
That's why I'm glad.
Get some wet wipes and wipe the chicken grease off your hands, bro. That sounds like an easy fix.
I mean, nah, that wasn't sensing nothing. So that's
crazy.
why I was so happy when they introduced the slide top later. You can just slide that bitch over and get your discs in and out. I think that's probably why they did it too, from all the faulty equipment they had.
Mm.
Controller, the dual shock, like Tony said, the dual shock, like 3 wasn't dual shocking. The 6-axis when it first came out, it was cool and novel idea, but the fact that it didn't have weight to it and it didn't like rumble like when you did certain things, like how I liked it. I wasn't the biggest fan of the controller. I give it a 7. It's because like it's, 6-axis wasn't where. That's why and they later dropped it because it wasn't really
Absolutely.
doing what it needed to do.
Yeah, we were talking about how it felt so empty. You know?
Yeah, it just felt like
a toy.
it felt too
Yeah.
light.
Mm-hmm.
Games. It had Metal Gear Solid 4, so it gets a 9
That's
just
why I bought
by
mine.
that alone.
I get it.
I bought the system for that game.
Same.
Period. Point blank. So yeah,
Same.
9 for games. I'm biased in that, but fuck you. Graphics are actually really, really good. It had Blu-ray, and like it had a lot of space on there and a lot of things you can do graphically wise. So I'm actually gonna give the graphics PS3 a 10. They really hold up to this day still. I can go back and play a PS3 game and still be like, "Ooh, that's not ugly. It looks good." You know, it looks
That's
good.
fair point. Yeah.
So to this day, they still hold up. Impact. Impact gets an 8 because of the introduction of the format wars. PS3, I think, was vital in helping Blu-ray beat HD DVD. Because the PS3 had the Blu-ray and Xbox had HD DVD, and PS3, actually in the beginning, Xbox was outselling PS3, but I think the fact that it had the Blu-ray and the format rolls that helped it like bring it up in the sales later on in life, and once they changed the models and they started selling more systems, and they lowered the price. 8 because Blu-ray won, and to this day, HD DVD is extinct.
HD DVD was here for 3 months.
Yep. 100%.
That shit was here for 3 months, and everybody was like, "Wait, the other one's better. Why are we even doing this?"
Facts. We did not linger long on that shit. I feel it. Okay. All right. So just once again recap, you get the console 5, controller 7, the games a 9, graphics a 10, impact an 8. Good arguments on the impact because that's a weird one to do the impact on. That's a interesting little console right there, man.
Also, right. MP3 player capabilities on that joint too.
What an incredible machine right there. God damn. Wow. MP3s. Good Lord.
Hey man, play that bitch with your Vita. Not with your Vita, your PS Portable at the time.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that would be kind of cool if like they had so many features that
remote play.
Long live the PSP.
We will talk about handheld consoles. Mark my words. We're gonna get into that conversation because that's another interesting like list of consoles to do. But let's not slow down because we made it to our last one. You both need to do this one, and that is the Xbox 360. And once again, I'm gonna just kind of throw it out there for the wolves. Whoever wants to start on this one.
I guess I'll start. Console, I'm gonna give it a 5. Reason why I'm giving it it had cool features. Like I said, one of the features I used to download my music on it and like play the game and listen to music. Like you ever play Madden and then like you can actually use your music or like WWE or stuff like that. The only reason I'm giving it
you can do your own interest. You can put your interest in music in.
Are you telling me that it had MP3 features? That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah, man.
Jesus
all my creative
Christ.
players on WWE games had like Will Smith or T.I. something. Like I was just trying shit, dog.
Yeah, 360 definitely puts theirs like as a big feature. That was
I had my man coming out to getting jiggy with it.
Exactly. The only reason why I'm giving it a 5 is because the red light of death was like destructible. I went through so many Xboxes just for that. And also, if you touch that system, your game was scratched.
It
didn't work no more.
Man,
that shit was
I forgot about that.
Hit the table one more time, then the record might skip.
On Christmas Day, my cousin kicked my Xbox, fucked up Saints Row. I played for like an hour and it was just done every time.
Done. It was a big burn. It was done. That's the only reason why it's not as high is because of those faults in the system were really like nerve wracking. Because like I said, if you got one of those, like you had to get a new. It was done for. You couldn't do nothing.
Nice.
So that's the only reason why I had to rank it low. Controller 10. I mean, Xbox 360 controller was amazing. I have no words for it. It was amazing controller. Games 10. I play Halo 3 all day, every day. I mean, Halo 3 was life for me. I mean, I didn't really play anything else for like a very long time until like, and then also back then was like prime Call of Duty. So we're talking about like Modern Warfare 2 and like Black Ops. Boy, let me tell you something. I used to wake up, play Call of Duty, go to sleep, play Call of Duty. I played it all day, every day, except for when I had to go to work. Like you couldn't get me off of it. But it was like that was the great time, good days. I have to give it a 10 just because I was on that system all day. I think that's probably why I got a red ring because I was on that shit all day. Graphics, 10. 360 graphics were great at the time. The impact I have to give the impact of, I'm gonna give that 8.5. I feel like it's weird, but I feel like 360 was Xbox's best system. I think it's even better than their newer systems. I feel like they went backwards in some way somehow. But like I said, 360 was like to me like their prime system. Like I said, with the Connect and different things like that, they were really like trying their hardest to like make sure they were competing with everybody else. And then now I just think like they're at the point where they just know that they're second fiddle. They're just okay with that.
Yeah. That is, I can't argue with that at all. I mean, I respect Xbox a lot, but focusing on this list, just to recap what your scores were, you gave the console a 5, controller a 10. That makes sense. They perfected controllers. Games a 10, graphics a 10, and the impact an 8.5, which is surprising ranking, but I respect it absolutely. I want to tell you now, your list is fascinating for one very particular reason that I can't wait to talk about. This is an interesting ass tier list right here. Weird how this happened, but we're gonna talk about it in a second. But Carl, what do you think of the Xbox 360?
I'm actually a very big fan of Xbox 360. I loved it. I actually had my 360 before I had my PS3. But I will say this for the console itself, it gets a 4. For a lot of the reasons that Lyle stated earlier. The design was okay. It was a sleek had like a little waistline right there, a little V shape, trying to get its curves on and whatnot. But the placement of certain things on it, for example, the fans, they weren't like the best place. So if you like didn't stand it up, it would cool better. But then you risk scratching the disc if you knock it the wrong way. And if you lay it down flat ways, you cover one of the fans up, so now it has a chance to overheat. It was just poorly designed, and it was asking for it to break at some point if you did something wrong. So it gets a 4 for that. And that fat ass battery pack that you got. I hate. I had one of those. They had and no reason. Like, why you do this battery pack? But I won't stay on that too long. You guys gonna fill with fat ass battery packs when it comes to power, of course, and shit.
Absolutely.
For the controller though, the controller's a 9. They fixed the problem from the original, its predecessor, with being too big, bulky, and made for shack hands. And it took away I believe the black and white buttons and just made like it just better. So controllers a 9, it felt really comfortable, and they pretty much just kept that same design moving forward. It hasn't changed since from Xbox One to the most recent version. Games 10, Halo, Gears, Perfect Dark Zero. The list goes on and on for Xbox 360 games. I'm not going to spend too much time. The games were fire. The games were great. And that's why I was beating PS3 in the beginning of the console battle, because of the pricing and had great exclusives. Graphics is also a 10 for me. Similar to the PS3, some of the Xbox 360 graphics I feel like still hold up a little bit to this day. Not as good as the PS3 does, because PS3 had more graphic capabilities. But I can go back and play an Xbox 360 game, and I have gone back and played Xbox 360 games recently, like Mirror's Edge, and I'm still like, yeah, this works. I'm not going. I'm not averting my eyes. All the Enders are still fun to play on there. So yeah, Impact gets a 9 because this is when Xbox started cooking. because they had Xbox Live, which was a pay for service versus the PSN, which was free at the time. But when you compare the two, Xbox Live was so much better than PSN because you paid for it. Like your lobbies, the people in the lobbies were shit. They cursing and racist and all that other bullshit. But
Peak racist.
Started on that.
100%.
but the structure and the servers were just so much better for online play than PlayStation could ever dream of. And that's why later on PlayStation changed their model to be pay for service.
Yep.
And I feel like Xbox, they had to. And the fact that Xbox started that trend means they changed how we game forever. It has to get a 9 for Xbox Live alone. And the Xbox Arcade and all that stuff.
Okay, I can see that argument for sure. All right, man. I knew that was going to be kind of an interesting ranking because that was a pivotal console. So just to once again recap for console, the 360 got a 3. The 360 got a 4 from Carl. It got a 9 for controller, a 10 for games, 10 for graphics, and a 9 for impact, which gave it a total of 42. Which actually completes all of our tier lists. So
did I do the
Wii? Yeah.
Okay.
I think you did the Wii. I have your score right here anyway.
Cool.
You gave it a 39. So so now what I want to do is I'm gonna go through everybody's tier list. Or I don't have to do it. Tony, you don't. I know you didn't have your PS2 rankings, but you got your full tier list, right?
Yeah, I got the PS2 in there.
All right, cool. And Carl, you have your tier list as well?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'll go through mine, and then I'm gonna let y'all go through y'all's, and then I'll go through James because I know James. Do you have yours?
No, I totally do not.
Yeah, I figured that you did. I wasn't really gonna ask her first. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah. So let me go through mine real quick. So at the top of my list is PS2 with a 47 out of 50. Super Nintendo is in second with a 46. 360 is actually tied with a 46, so those two are tied for second. And then PS1, I guess, will be in third with a 45. And then from there, you got GameCube at 40 with a 44, Genesis with 42, the N64 with a 41, and it's tied with Dreamcast. They're both at 41. The Wii got a 40, Xbox got a 39, and PS3 actually got a 36, which I feel like I disrespect the PS3. That's the only real thing about my list. And I'm like, I don't know. But I think as far as how I feel about these consoles, it feels pretty solid. I'm not gonna lie. I might have moved 1 or 2 things around, but it's not bad. But Tony, I guess you can go through your tier list, and then Carl, we're gonna follow up with yours.
All right, so top of my list is actually a tie, 2-way tie, Xbox 360 and the Super Nintendo with 47. Third is the GameCube with a 46, PS2 at 44, Dreamcast at 43, N64 at 41. Got the Wii at a 30. I'm sorry, Genesis at 39, Wii at a 38, PS1 at 36, the Xbox at a 31, and my personal favorite, the PS3 at a 26.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, well,
what
clearly,
happened there?
Clearly, it's personal. But wow.
No, look, I'm gonna tell you what happened. I'll tell you what happened real quick. I had a 4 for the console appearance and I had a 4 for the impact, but I had a 1 for the controllers because I fucking hate those controllers.
Okay.
Dang. Carl, you bombed everything with a power brick, so I guess I feel like it's the same logic.
Yeah, I did. Power brick automatic deductions.
Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes.
It didn't have power brick PS3.
Making points. You're making points. But you can go ahead and give your tier list.
So my number 1 was actually PS2 with a 48. My second place was a tie with Super Nintendo and I think Super Nintendo with 44. And then my third place was PS1 with a 43. And I also had a 43 for the Dreamcast for third place. And my fourth place was that was a big time fourth place. I had a Sega at a 42. I had Xbox 360 42, GameCube 42.
Yep. I didn't notice that.
A lot of 42s going around. Fifth place, a tie for the we had a 39, PS3 had a 39. Oh, I skipped 64. 64 out of 41. So I guess
Mhm.
that would be higher than that would be my new fifth place, and that drops the PS3 to sixth place with 39, 39, and the Wii with a 39. And then I had the all-time low go to the original Xbox with 37.
Yep, cool. Yeah, y'all are just confirming that my math is on point because I got all the same numbers, it looks like. But yeah, man. So do you feel like this is how you feel about these consoles, like as far as rank goes?
I do. Like I said, the original Xbox, like I said, it was cool. It was the new RC Cola,
Mhm.
but the console itself, I had a lot of it's had issues. It was big, heavy, and it really I feel the
Yeah,
same way. I think my score for that console being last of all the others is justified.
I feel that. I feel that for sure. Um, so now we have James's list, which I calculated as we were going. I'm gonna have to double check this list because if so, it is one of the most remarkable cases I've ever seen as far as the tier list. James, there's only almost every single console you have on your list tied. Almost everyone. There's
What?
one that didn't tie. So here's your list. At the top, you have a tie PS2 and Super Nintendo with 47.5. Then you got N64 and GameCube both with 44. Then you got PS1 and 360 both with 43.5. The only one that wasn't a tie was Dreamcast and Wii. Dreamcast got 42.5. We got a 42. You were zero point 0.5 off from everything being a tie on this entire list. And then at the bottom is PS3 and Xbox. Both
And
got
he's
a
the only one
39.
doing 0.5s.
Literally, you made it harder for yourself and somehow tied everything. The last one was 39.5 for PS3 and Xbox. Statistically, I can't believe that this is true. I got to do this again, like, because that shit blew my mind.
It's probably right. Just thinking about how I look at systems, it's probably right. It actually.
This is you got a brilliant, like, what's
That's
that damn
impressive.
movie called? Yeah, you got like
Beautiful
some type
mind.
of yeah. There's some shit going on, James. You gotta need to start counting cards, my brother. Real talk.
I thought about that, but then I don't want to die.
Fair,
Good point. Good point.
I have
Ain't worth
a genuine question. Excluding Tony's destruction of the PS3, was the 39 the lowest score that anybody gave a console?
No, so I gave PS3 a 36.
Oh, I gave 37 for Xbox. Okay.
Yep, and
Yeah, and I've got
PS1.
31 for Xbox.
Yep.
Okay.
Let me see.
So I'm still the biggest hater.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then I think you also had what's that at 36 on your list? Unless I had my math
PS1.
wrong. Okay, yeah. So you had that down there, which is,
That's a take. Okay.
yeah. I think what tanked PS1 was the console design for you, if I'm not mistaken, like the way
Let's
it
see. I
looks.
think I still have that one up. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what killed it, but
Yeah,
this
that
is
was
what
it. That was really the only low score on it was the console appearance because it's gray box. So
man. I gotta this has been a straight up fascinating like deep dive into our minds. Like, who'd have thought that James does math as he does rankings? Like, that's just crazy. But what I want to do, I know we're about to wrap things up real quick, but I want to actually go through and like average out all of these consoles. I tried to do it as we were going, but I was not getting that done by the time we finished. But I'm gonna average out all the consoles. Guys, we did have some slight technical issues, but it gave us an opportunity to kind of step away and get me to come back solo with our full Eclipse Theory list. It's actually interesting to kind of take a look at it compared to some of our other lists because the top 5 is actually pretty similar to my own. I think the top 4 is the same, but just to go through what our official Eclipse Theory retro console tier list is. Number 1, we have PS2 at 46.6. Super Nintendo comes in at second at 46.1. 360 comes in at third at 44.6. Those are all the same as my list. And then GameCube is 44, also the same. And then Dreamcast is actually in fifth, 42.4, with Genesis in sixth, 42. And then N64 has a 41.8. PS1 right under it at 41.8. Oh, excuse me, no. PS1 is right over N64. It has 41.9. And N64 has 41.8. So that generation sticking right next to each other. Then you got the Wii, 41.3. Xbox at 36.6, and then PS3 at the bottom at 35.1. I think Tony's score kind of tanked the PS3 a little bit, but it's all good. But yeah, interesting tier list. We finally have our official console ranking for Eclipse Theory, and we'll kind of update it if we continue to do this as we go along, because still gotta get that Wii U out of the way for sure. But let us know if you agree with our overall list and how you feel about each of our individual lists in the comments, man. Definitely want to hear from you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content, because we definitely want to make this a show for you. But until next time, I'm Kendall. That was James, Carl, and Tony. And make sure you guys keep gaming.